course, it would be great if all your partial panel flying could be straight and level. But in real life, the odds are you're going to have to make an instrument approach, maybe even an ILS. So one skill that approaches require is the ability to make descents at a controlled rate of descent and airspeed. So let's take a look at what's involved when you're doing a controlled rate of descent under partial panel. Now let's say you're in cruise in your Skyhawk on partial panel and you want to start a descent at 90 knots and say a rate of 500 feet a minute. Well, to do that, the first thing you want to do is slow to 90 knots. And to do that, you set a power setting that you think will get you 90 knots at that descent of, say, 500 feet a minute. Let's say 1700 RPM. Of course, when you reduce that power, you'll need slight left rudder pressure and some nose-up trim as the airplane slows down. Now, when you've reached your 90 knots, you'll pitch down a little to maintain that 90 knots. And once you have that descent established at 90 knots, now you need to include the VSI in your scan. Now, in the descent, you'll control your rate of descent by adjusting the pitch of the airplane. Then, check your results with the VSI. If the descent rate is a little too high, you'll pitch up slightly. If you need to increase your rate of descent, pitch down a little. Now remember, the VSI has a lag, so you want to make those corrections and wait just a little bit to see what results you get. Now you're also going to be controlling the airspeed, so you'll need to make power adjustments to hold the 90 knots constant. Of course, you'll use the airspeed indicator to keep track of your airspeed. Get a little slow, increase the power a little. Get a little fast, decrease the power a little. So your scan will go from the turn coordinator to the airspeed indicator and back, and in turn to the VSI and the compass and back. And you want to make sure that you keep track of your altitude, so you'll have to include your altimeter in your scan. Now occasionally you'll need to do turns in your descent, and as in any turn, the nose will tend to drop when you roll into that turn. So add a little back pressure and increase your attention to the VSI to make sure you have a constant rate of descent. As you roll out of the turn, release the back pressure, and once again, you'll have to pay a little more attention to the VSI. Now, as you approach your target altitude, you'll want to start including the altimeter a little more frequently in your scan. And as you remember, you want to lead that level off by 10% of your rate of descent, so we'll lead our level off by 50 feet. And we're coming up on our altitude now, just about time to lead that level off. So I'll use the VSI and the altimeter to pitch up and increase power to maintain the 90 knots. And come in with a little right rudder. Let's go to cruise. Now you'll have to pay a special attention to make sure you're coordinated and in trim. Now this time, let's do a climb at a controlled rate of climb and airspeed. And let's pick a rate of climb and airspeed we ought to be able to maintain, say 500 feet a minute and 90 knots. Okay, now starting at cruise, we'll pitch up with reference to the VSI. And once again, you remember the VSI has a lag, so you wait to see what results you get, and we'll aim for that 500 feet a minute. Now, as the airspeed slows to 90 knots, we'll come in with the power we think we'll need. And I can tell you, it's going to be just a little short of full power. And of course, as always, we'll use trim and rudder pressure as necessary. Now, once again, we'll use pitch control to control the climb rate and power to control the airspeed. And as before, now your scan will have to include the airspeed indicator and the VSI more frequently. So, just as in the descent, your scan will go from the turn coordinator and then in turn to the airspeed indicator, the VSI, and the compass. And, of course, you don't want to forget your altimeter. Now, we're going to lead this level off by 50 feet. And there we are now, so we're going to use the vertical speed indicator and the altimeter to pitch down and let the speed slowly increase. And don't forget to keep the airplane coordinated and in trim. Well, now you have the confidence that if even on a really crummy day under instrument conditions, you should lose the entire vacuum system, you can still keep the airplane under control and bring it back to the ground safely.